Welcome back to the boss chamber again. The pots are back. How nice of them. I will have no more of you interfering with my plans. Let me show you true power. He become tall. Oh, a vulnerable eyeball. Wow. How smart of you to evolve to have a giant eyeball in your torso. I'm sure there are many benefits to this evolution. Narrator, there were not. Die ball. I was getting ready to shoot it, but I don't think I need to actually. Ah! Oh! Oh! Persistent lasers. Got him. No. Come back. What? I keep bouncing off. No. It's annoying. Oh. Is that a phase transition? That was a very short amount of time to do. Oh! Oh! No! Oh, the speed boost you get from being on fire sucks. Okay, so I gotta, like, cleanse the dark with my evil, my cool beam thing. I am on fire. I'm not sure what they want from me right now. Berry! Okay. Wait, on fire. Oh, I'm in the middle. That's bad. Okay, they're immune to my shit. I thought this was like the cleanse darkness thing. So I thought you could use the sword to... Okay, what do you want from me, game? Lantern is like anti-darkness. I'm very smart. It doesn't work. Okay, this wouldn't be a boomerang because this is an optional item. What do I do? Why are they invincible? Was this... Ah, shit. What is this a callback to? Like, was this set up at some point? Pegasus boots, Rock's cape. None of these seem very relevant. The cane just turns things upside down. The gusture? I don't think this is gonna, like, suck the evil out of it. Ah! It didn't even suck the fire! Wait. Why are two of them like this now? Did I do that? Wait, was it the suck? It was the suck. Why was the suck the solution? Why does the suck work? Okay. Eh. Fire bad. Oh my god. Come back here. You prick. Suck. Ow. Ow. No! God damn it. Ame. Well, you seem to have some fight in you. I commend your bravery. Every villain gets this voice in this series. But you will not survive this. I am filled with a power that you cannot begin to understand. Do you think that puny sword will save you from me? Oh. Balls? Okay, now what's happening? Only the best villains get that voice. Ow. Which are inevitably all the queer-coded ones. All the other villains are either Ganondorf or boring. I'm a bad guy. I look like I sound like this. Cool. Thanks for coming. What is my goal? Oh, these aren't gonna drop stuff anymore. Oh, they do sometimes. But just arrows? So I guess arrows somehow solve problem. Okay. An exposed eyeball. What is happening? Oop, don't get me. It's almost like the memorization flip things over game. Although in this case, I think the game I'm supposed to play is I'm supposed to hit all of them simultaneously. It's one of those again, since that's been established a few times now. No! And I died. Ugh. Okay. So over this mechanic. It's just so frustrating! Imagine doing this without the fast charge up in this boss fight. Holy shit. There we go. Cancel before you get me killed. Oh, wait. Oh, shit. I was probably supposed to hit him during that. I just wasted it. Is that? Nope, that doesn't work. I've got to slowly shoot every single one with an arrow. But if I reveal the correct ones first, then I can just move on with my life. So it's those four. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Yee-hoo. Probably the four on the left. I don't think they can be scattered around, so they all have to be in a row, I believe. I just needed them to get off the thing. Please go away. Cannot do the thing if you stay there. Get him! Okay. Oh! That's the bottom four. Since they are eyeballs, I'm pretty sure I need to reveal them first still. I don't think I can just be like... I don't think I can just guess which ones they are and then move on. Because if the eyeball's not out, then how is it vulnerable? You gotta think. Ah! Bottom boundary. This is the bottom boundary. Only tops allowed. Alright. Stop moving. Stop moving. You punk! It's fine. I'll take it. At least it did some damage. Probably less? I don't know. Yep, he's definitely left side again. Stop bumping in me. I gotta say, Eyeball Bumper Carts is the least intimidating boss I've seen in a while in a Zelda game. He's just not very threatening. He's just a weird goober. Look at me go! You'll never defeat my plan where I basically never attack. I just kind of drift around. You'll never get past my bumper car eyeballs. I'm the scariest man in Hyrule. Got him. What? What is this madness? I have the power of a god. I have unstoppable might. How could I lose to a child? Like that. You did it! Impressive! Now, quickly, we must break the curse on Zelda! No, my heart's... I was gonna go heal. It lets you go back, but it just does the dialogue again. I'm like, no, I wanted to break pots and get health. So, Micah, now that you have the power of the Four Sword, you must return Princess Zelda to normal. Yeah, thank you for your input, sir. I understand the plot. The only thing we've established. Micah, thank you so much for saving me. When I was turned to stone, I saw visions of you, as if in a dream. It looks like the curse has been broken. I'm glad we made it in time. No! The castle's collapsing! It's too dangerous here. Quickly, we must escape from the castle. But like at a normal walking speed. The door is blocked. We have no choice. Head back to the sanctuary. Ah, the middle of the castle, the safest part. Wait a minute. Rumble for days. There's a surprising number of parts of this game that remind me a little bit of Golden Sun. It's just kind of funny. Parts of the soundtrack, the dialogue, the elemental sanctuaries. You will not escape, boy. Now, you will see the true power of the Light Force. For I have become Vati, the master of this world. Alright, aren't we we're like an evil Hyrule, aren't we? We need to escape back. Oh, but it still happened. This is why I wanted to heal! You punks! You forced me not to heal, when I specifically would have benefited from healing. Why have you... Ow. Oh, this sucks. Alright. Oh. Oh, why did I do it? That's the wrong button. I'll try spinning, that's a cool trick. Can I climb up in your butt? Nope. I don't think this benefits me. Nope. Nope. How do I do anything in this fight? Wait, really? What did it even do? Oh, it made it like a... Ow. Ow. Oh, it's gone now anyway. Alright. Why does that even work? It doesn't even flip it over, so I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to even... Ah! No! Fuck! Ah! It hits me every time, too! Oh, this is fucking awkward. Okay, go in. What do I don't know what I'm... This is so nonsense. What is happening? Oh yes, the intuitive answer. You gotta use the reverso wand to make the tentacles erect, and then they're full of the demon sperm that you fight with your sword. Very slowly. Do they take damage? Like, okay, I guess I ran out of time. So I guess I didn't figure out what I was supposed to do to them. Can you please stop blocking the thing? I will jump down into your thing, and it's bad. I don't like Vaati as a series of fights very much, I gotta be honest. These are just kind of annoying fights. He's just blocking the fucking thing! Like, if I turn big right now, he will hit me. Because he's just fucking blocking it. It's such a dick move. These are just kind of awkward mechanics to force into a boss fight. So like they're goofy puzzle solving things that are really clunky to have to do on the fly. Wait, okay, I won immediately this time, so I guess they were taking damage and they shared health the whole time? I'm gonna take damage. Roll! Okay, I made it. That was a complete shot in the dark when I chose to use the reverse wand. I'm like, I don't know what the game wants from me at all. No, I want them to be stuck in the corner. Maximum damage. God, they're so fast. Oops. That one. Yep. No, I keep trying to roll to go faster, and the tense, if you're too close to it, roll makes you auto switch. Okay. Switch back to you. Stop fucking running from me. Come here. Please die? There we go. Damn. Whoa! That doesn't work? Do I suck the eyes out of his head? Which arbitrary thing works? Ah! I don't think that works. Ow. What do you want? What do you want from me? They're smaller eyes, so am I supposed to hit them while I'm small? Why would that? That doesn't make any sense, right? Why would they be vulnerable to small me? I technically can swing a sword. Oh, I died. What do you want from me, game, please? Just tell me. Yeah, I don't think it's that. It's like I think it's basically impossible to swing your weapon at him. What do you want from me, man? Try the swingy thingy. This thing. No? Maybe not. Well, it was charged. Oh, shit. Sorry. Sorry, everyone. Oh my god, they come from where he was. And they keep coming. This is my bad. I'm sorry. No? 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 Wait, no? Did I miss or not? I'm frustrated in particular because I'm like about to die. So like we're in high tension problem solving mode where it's like, what do you want from me, game? I tried to roll out of the way and it deactivated everybody because everything's triple mapped to the same buttons. What do you want? What? God fuck. God damn. I did so much worse this time. I don't get how to fight them, I guess. Damn. Haha. This room is still here. Oh, this is important. This is a very strategically placed room. Alrighty, let's give Giant Eyeball Evil Man another go. Well, there goes my health immediately. Ow. I'm gonna get above you. Being in front of you is pointless. Ow. Wow. Alright, well that doesn't work at all. Jeez. Wow, I'm doing negative damage somehow. They're really hard to hurt, honestly. They're so hard to hit. Because they're just faster than you and they run away. And they have no interest in fighting you, so there's none of the usual dynamic. Like, it's hard to explain if you haven't experienced it, but the entire dynamic you normally have with an enemy, that with the weird way that they like kind of chase you down a bit, and then they bounce off of you in a Zelda game over and over again. And the entire dynamic is just kind of. I really wish you didn't block the fucking thing. Honestly, both of these boss fights have an issue where there's a static location that you need to use to do the power, which is a unique problem for this game compared to other games in the series. And they just block it. And then you just have to wait for sometimes a long time. I don't know if there's gotta be I want to see a speedrun of this game. I'm just curious how people do this fight smartly. Because I don't see a smart way to do it. I haven't seen one yet. But I'm very frustrated with like how they just run away. Because of course my first instinct is to try to figure out like how do I make this fight, how do I win this on my first attempt when I go into one of these towers. Because getting kicked out feels bad and like I did something wrong. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's the case. I don't know how likely this is. Is this a thing where people know the exact strategy? Or is this one of those things where it's like a speedrun killer because, oh my god, 4 times? Why am I getting worse at this game? I did worse, like I took a break and everything to like reset. But I literally did worse against the armor guys and I'm doing worse now. Like, I consistently beat them in 2 attempts. Now this is my 4th time into this thing. I don't know, I have no idea what the smart way of handling these things is. Oh, I just got it. There's a real one. Oh. That's really important information. Okay. There's a real one. All of them are fake, so I'm not doing any damage. Okay. That makes way more sense. Alright, where's the real one? Now this makes the real one harder to spot. Yeah, that's the real one. Oh my god. Okay, so amongst all of them, one of them looks different. Their eye looks different. Oh my god, what a huge difference. I was kind of reset for the idea, like, something had to be wrong. Because how was I fucking up that badly? Oh, shit! Okay. Uh-oh. I hate this mechanic. I genuinely hate it. But okay, I get it. Wow, that was a good random accident to have. No, please! Motherfucker! God damn it! I'm just trying to be ready for the fucking energy balls, and you hit me with the other thing. No! What? No, another one? Wait, he's like off the cliff. Whatever. I don't get to try it anyway. Those are so annoying. The fucking lightning is too closely spaced for you to dodge between. Ta-da. Okay, so we're not done yet. Are his arms coming back? Yes. Oh. No. The fact that you have to perfectly space them, just like with the statues. So the statues were setting up this mechanic, but they don't look like the statues, and that's not how the previous eyes worked. Their design does not evoke the statues in any particular way, so it's not really signposted very well that they're supposed to God damn it. They're supposed to redo the statue mechanic. Ah! Were you there? Nope. Rule of theories. No. That just feels so unreasonable. I don't see how you can dodge those. You have to be this shape in order to reasonably. You just get fucked by the RNG because there's just two things repeating on like a timer. His two moves seemingly, and if he does the lightning right before, then you just can't dodge it. What? Did my my fucking beam. My beam destroyed the projectile, didn't it? Oh, this is infuriating. I hate the splitting mechanic. I don't like it. I've had it all game. I don't like it at any point in the game. It's kind of cute when you're pushing a boulder for a second, but even then it's tedious after the first time. And in boss fights, it's like a horrific thing to put in the game. There we go. It's over. Fool. But the light force. My power. I had such power. I know it's Zelda, so every single criticism puts me in hot water because literally all of them are someone's favorite game ever every time, but oh my god, this is one of my least favorite mechanics in any Zelda game I've ever played, is the splitting mechanic, and it's entirely because of how you fire it up and how fragile it is and how every time something goes wrong you have to start it over and over and over and over and you're like, please. But like, this whole Vati fight is so compromised by the fact that they make you use the Minish mechanic, they make you use the Minish Cap and the sword split thing, and both of those require going to a physical location that's in the level, and then doing a clunky charge-up animation thing that locks you in place for a long time, and then has a specific way of getting you kind of screwed over, where like, cloning yourself makes you this giant thing, a giant hitbox where you take damage no matter who gets hit. It's not like the other ones aren't just clones that get disrupted and disappeared by getting hit. They hurt you as if you're the one that was that clone. And then when you go into the Minish thing, like, the boss will just sit on top of the Minish thing sometimes and just block it. So you have to either wait an eternity to get him to go away or keep luring him away, or you will jump into, like, because you can't control which direction you jump in when you get off of the Minish thing, so Link just jumps into the boss and takes damage every single time, so you gotta lure them away. And like, that phase that we just did, that version of Vaati didn't tend to overlap the split platforms, but the previous phase Vaati, mainly in phase 2 when we had to hit where he had 8 balls and you had to reveal which ones were eyeballs, he'll just like hang out and block the platform for a long time sometimes, and you're just sitting there trying to lure him away, and then the moment you try to go back and do the very long charge up to then activate the power, he might just come back over and block it again, and then you either take damage or you dodge away and you have to sit there and wait a long time for him to go away again. And like, this is with an optional power-up to charge up faster that I found at the last possible minute. If I didn't get that power-up, I would have to charge up for like 5-10 seconds straight every time I tried to use that power, and I would be fuming right now. I would be so much more mad than I already am at this mechanic, because it is incredibly, just horrifyingly tedious. It is one of the most bad feeling mechanics they've ever put in any Zelda game, and like, they actually allow you to potentially get to the boss fight without getting the increased speed, because the increased speed was optional. That's crazy to me. Like, I just happened to stumble into a trade, because I got that via Kinstone, right? Didn't a Kinstone open up the staircase to the secret trainer that gave me it? Like, if you didn't find that, and it's pretty obscure as far as like how these games tend to go, like as far as secrets go, the Kinstones are really arcane and spread through so many NPCs so widely that it's so easy to miss any number of them. Like, that's crazy. I feel so bad for anyone who got to this fight and didn't have the sped up mechanic, because that's like, why would you prime a player of a Zelda game of all things to be in such a bad situation to just not have any fun? Because that seems miserable. But yeah, by the end, it just definitely starts to feel like there needs to be like it's like, oh, that was fun for the puzzle mechanic parts of the game, but anyway, wow, Link, you're charged with the superpower, ultra powers. Look at you go! Wow, through breakthroughs of magic technology, you can now use the Minish Cap and the other thing on the fly. Whoa! Like, especially the Minish Cap. The sword is also rough, but just like, what if you could actually like gain access to a special like boss fight version of the shrink mechanic, where you just can do it when you want to, instead of via the weird little statue that is inside of the boss arena. Because like, there's no good system there. You either have to put it all the way off on its own little planet where the boss can't get in the way, and then it feels completely divorced from the fight and bizarre as a feature, or you like do what they did here, where it's just in the middle of the arena and the boss just makes it very annoying to interact with. Like, it just feels like a strange mechanic to try to incorporate directly into the boss fight, even though, like, on some level, like, I get it, because I talked about how Skyward Sword, its big thing was to introduce the bird, and you even do fight one creature on the bird at one point, like as a kind of a boss fight, but they couldn't, they for some reason didn't incorporate that in any way into the finale, which felt like a missed opportunity and kind of like defeated the purpose of even incorporating that character. And similarly, those were the two big mechanics, were splitting your character and shrinking your character. Like, those were the ones that really stuck to the game throughout. But if they were so poorly fit for a boss fight, at least by my opinion, like, then I don't know if it was, maybe it was worth reconsidering those ideas at some point. I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a better way to handle these, because after, like, despite the game overall being pretty alright, this whole final fight, I just wanted it to end. I just wanted it to be over. I'm like, please stop. This isn't any fun. I don't like this. And there was a bit of that with the manta ray fight, where it's just, it's like, it's a cool fight in concept, and the hopping between manta rays in particular is a really cool thing with the new jump power. But mixing that in with the split into a bunch of links via a very long charge up animation and then do the thing, I don't want to mix charge up this very slow thing and then it's destroyed in one hit. I don't want that mixed into any boss fights, let alone two of them. Like, that just feels ill-advised at some point. It feels like at some point that should have just become an ability I could just use on the fly, instead of something that required such a specific, slow charge-up process and a specific location and all that. It's just a lot. Anyway. Micah, thank goodness you're safe. You defeated Vati. You were so brave. But we've lost so much. The castle, all those people. I'm old! What's this? The curse. Defeating Vati seems to have broken the curse he cast upon me. I'm the one who's talking, actually. Whoops. Allow me to introduce myself to you, Princess Zelda. My name is Ezlo, master of Minish lore and sorcery. The Mage's Cap was my creation, but its limitless power has caused nothing but trouble for your kind. Is there any way you can forgive me? I know many have fallen, and much of the castle has been destroyed. But it is too soon to give in to despair. The curse on me is broken, and Zelda still possesses some of the light force. Perhaps, together, we can do something to make things right. I know, we'll immediately reapply the horrifying power that almost ended the world. It'll work this time. If one with a just heart wears this cap, that things can be made right again. We'll trust it to Zelda instead of the actual hero of the story. She's been, you've never met before, but you're a good judge of character. She's probably great. She's great. I'm sure she's great. Princess Zelda, let your wishes be made real. I wish for a harem and, wait, shit. Intrusive thoughts, bad time, no. So is there always a staircase under that chair, or? Look, the castle. All the people who have been turned into stone. They're all back to normal. The hat is falling apart. It's overflowing with the power of life. The hat has the power to turn the thoughts of its wearer into reality. Vati's heart was filled with evil, and that was reflected in what he became. But it seems that Zelda's pure heart, coupled with the hat's power, has created a miracle. That's her entire personality. She's just pure of heart. She has no discernible personality in this game besides that. She doesn't even have screen time. She's just a statue the whole time, and then she is revived like, wow, she's so pure, she saved the world. She's like the childlike princess from Neverending Story or whatever. I haven't watched that in a long time. All I remember is a sad horse. That horse has depression. It looks like the time for us to part has come. The Minish door opens but once every century, and soon it must close. I must leave you both now and return to my homeland. I know I have caused you much suffering, but the evil one's power has withered. The power of Princess Zelda herself has restored the light to Hyrule. Well, Micah, my journey with you has been exciting, to say the least. In fact, I'm more than just a little sad that we must part ways now. Please accept this. Da 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 da. Remember hats? You know, I've never actually seen you wearing a cap until now. It suits you, little hero. That's ironic, actually, yeah. Take care. There's some one-hand clapping shit going on there where it's like, if I'm a hat, I can never see you in a hat. Farewell, my friend. See you in the next Zelda, where Link's shield becomes a sentient person. We've done his hat, and we've done his sword, because the Master Sword is apparently always Fi, although the tunic hat is not always Ezlo, it just was that one time. Oh, and his hair is alive now. Whoa! Like, they just slowly mine every element of his design. Yeah, it's definitely the Wind Waker Zelda and Link. So this must have come out after Wind Waker. Or they had the art already. I don't know. The in-game graphics didn't resemble that nearly as much. But it's arguable that this could be seen as like a natural evolution of what his old 2D sprite looked like anyway with the giant head. Like, transitioning to Wind Waker and stuff makes sense, and you could interpret Wind Waker in general as being a 3D interpretation of the 2D art. It's just very, 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 very particular because of the cel-shaded approach that it had in that particular game and that specific art style. And I think some of the later games are really explicitly in the Wind Waker art style during normal gameplay, and Link's Awakening Remake and I think Link Between Worlds are not that. I wonder how reasonably a Link Between Worlds can be recorded if you can't play it on the handheld itself. Like if it uses touchpad controls at all. Or even I don't know how you Let's Play games that have touchpad controls on like a PlayStation Vita or a 3DS, even if you like emulate. I'm like, does it work? Can you meaningfully do that part of the game? I have no idea how that part works, actually. Huh. I know that for a while there, a lot of people that recorded that stuff, what they had is they had like a 3DS that was modified to have an HDMI output, which like, I think like one guy in Japan was just making all of them. Like you could send them your 3DS and they would modify it and send it back, and it cost hundreds of dollars to do so or something. And like, I think they just stopped. So that's just the end of that entire concept. It was just one person making all of them, I think was the story, is what I heard. So that's not the most reasonable solution for most people. Although maybe if you're really techie, you can do it yourself with that information. I don't know. Look at those wacky eyeballs. This was Minish Cap. I'd probably rate it relatively high in the series. It's pretty good. I just really don't like the two. I don't mind the shrinking mechanic as a puzzle-solving, traversal, and even theming mechanic. But I don't like the split mechanic, like, at all. Because at its best, you just push a rock with it, and it's visually a gating mechanic of like, you need 2 people, 3 people, 4 people for this rock. And that's like about it. But it's just not interesting. It's just like, mechanically, most of the game, it's just a solid gate of you can do this or you can't do this. And there's nothing mechanically interesting to do as it progresses. You just step on more panels. And aside from a very few WarioWare style gimmicky things where you dodge through some awkward stuff, for the most part, there's just nowhere to go with that mechanic. So it just feels like it just feels like it wasn't amazingly thought out. Because yeah, like the most mechanically intense and interesting thing you can do with that entire mechanic is just the one where you I think the most mechanically interesting part of the entire concept is just the part where you like reorient your pack of dudes to block various not block, sorry, I'm just, my brain broke in that sentence and it wasn't planned out. It's like the part where you make a formation of dudes and have to do a specific thing is the most interesting thing you can do with that mechanic. And the part where you use it to attack that way sounds interesting on paper, but the consequences for even a slight mistake being that you take damage and then you have to reset the entire process is miserable. Whereas the part where you do that to a few times to just try to like get your guys in the right configuration to like stand in the right place to like either hit the right things or stand on the buttons, like that's fine. I don't mind when you like I think the rooms are kind of neat when you have to like walk. You're given a time pressure, and that it only lasts X amount of time, and you have to make the right formation, and then you have to like zigzag through a hallway while moving everyone just right in order to get through and push a thing. Like, that stuff was generally fine. Like, that made sense for the mechanic in a way that the combat didn't necessarily feel like it did. And so that was kind of rough. But overall, like, the dungeons were all right, and the bosses were all right until the last one in particular. Vati and Zelda are underdeveloped characters. Ezlo's also a fairly underdeveloped character. You just get a flashback of Ezlo and Vati in the past, and that's like all they do with it. So as far as narrative goes, they didn't do a lot with this one, and it's kind of one of the things that happens when you have... I guess really it comes down to just Ezlo's character development is the most you could do, and they just didn't do much with that. Because every other character is almost exclusively either mind-controlled or a statue throughout the game. And the Vati just shows up to taunt you very, 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 very rarely. So there just isn't much of a narrative to it overall. It's very much go to place, find local problem, solve local problem, and get the MacGuffins to solve the problem and so on. So that, yeah, not a lot going on narratively, but that's not a huge problem. While Wind Waker gets a lot out of narrative and theming and stuff. Not Wind Waker. Majora's Mask gets a lot of narrative and theming going on. That's satisfying. Most of the franchise, despite people arguing with me whenever I bring this up, is just not especially story driven. It becomes more so towards Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, but the majority of the franchise just doesn't have that much narrative going on compared to what you'd expect from like any kind of like particularly narrative game, in my opinion. So I don't really kind of akin to like From Software games, for example. I don't really come to Zelda games for the story, and so I'm just kind of pleasantly surprised if I do get engaged in the story in the few times it does happen, which also happens with From Software. Like in parts of Sekiro and then in like the Blythe and Ronnie parts of Elden Ring, I'm suddenly like, oh shit, what's going on over here? And then I kind of go back to being like, okay, now it's time for levels and bosses outside of those parts. It just usually isn't that. It just usually isn't the draw. It's fine. Just trying to think about if there's any other stuff I want to talk about with this game. Recapping thoughts. The abilities are overall pretty neat. I think the tornado is stupid. Remove the tornado mechanic where you sail. You whenever you get in a tornado, you sail cloth, and that sucks. Delete that from the game. All of the parts where you sail cloth for a bit mostly suck. There's a few traversal parts in the open world where it's kind of neat to just sort of like realize that, oh, if I go from here to there, I can traverse across here, and that opens up a new path. But overall, that stuff just sucks. It's not good. Using holes and the reverse power in that nonsensical but funny way to launch yourself up a ledge, that's neat. Having a jump is neat, but it's really confusingly implemented as far as how it interacts with every element of the game. So it's pure trial and error as far as like whether it's going to make sense this time or not. But specifically the sailing mechanic, the air sailing mechanic, the parasailing parachute mechanic, it just feels really bad. Your character has a really, really heavy inertia that fights your controls, but above all else, you just can't tell what you're looking at. You can't tell how high you are. You can't tell if you're going to physically make it places or not. Even the game seems confused about it sometimes, because when you try to fly over a ledge to land on it, what happens in many cases, I've noticed that Link will hesitate for a while and then suddenly shoot forward, as if they're like trying to split the difference of like, okay, is he going to make it via whatever his invisible-ish Z-axis value is right now, or am I going to drop off the ledge and kill him? And like, there's a moment where it's like Link's not allowed to exist on the tile that is the ledge itself, because there's usually like a tile that makes up like a cliff of some sort. So he just kind of like hits an invisible wall flying against the ledge, and then suddenly lurches forward when it decides that, yes, you are allowed to land on the next platform. And it's like, it feels very weird. And then the traversal mechanics of where you find secrets via it are also just kind of like frustrating because of the fact that you can't see where you're going because you just have a tiny top-down camera angle. It very much feels like a gliding mechanic like that it feels like that kind of thing very much belongs in 3D, where your height is a concrete conceptualizable thing that you just process visually, and it just makes sense on the fly. You don't have to sit here and question it every second of the moment that you're sitting here doing this. Like, you just believe in it and it just works. In 2D, it's just very strange. The limitations are too great, and the perspective makes it so you can't tell where you're going half the time unless you're only going across a tiny gap. And at that point, you might as well just have a jump, which they do give you. So it's like you don't need a cloth. All the parts where you sailcloth around make the game worse, in my opinion. And being able to just jump feels so much better, especially since the jump itself gets like a weird double jump glide, which also feels better, because it's snappier, it's more responsive, and it also generally involves jumping distances that are the size of your screen, so you can tell whether or not it's a reasonable thing to do, because you can see your target. And the sailcloth often expected you to sail past where your screen could see, and it just felt like you were like groping in the dark and hoping you could guess what the game was hoping for you to notice. And I don't like that feeling at all. I don't like that. So really, if you got rid of the split mechanic during boss fights and the sailcloth in general, I'd be pretty happy with the rest of the game. The Kinstone stuff I'm a little mixed on. It's mostly like secrets, but like I do prefer just finding secrets, like being able to just freely explore and have them all be gated by your actual mechanics. So it would have been preferable, I think, if they just had the level explorable like normal, and all those secrets were instead stuff you found via your actual items and abilities, instead of collecting a strange series of tokens which you might have to grind for, and then trying to get 100% completion of finding every single NPC to give one to, because they might be really important, but you don't know which ones you're missing, and it's hard to parse and follow all that, and it leads to, if you're not doing a let's play and you don't have anyone that you're worried about boring, it encourages you to do something that is boring to you, arguably, which is that you just like repetitively check every NPC over and over again, wondering which ones you might be missing, and try to jam stones into them. And I don't think anything about that's necessarily an improvement over just having regular secrets. So I don't think that was necessarily a worthwhile thing, but it was an amusing little change to see this time around. So I don't hate that. I just would definitely not choose to repeat it in a future game or anything like that. I'm not crazy about that idea. I like the shrinking and growing mechanic as a concept and an execution. I don't love doing it during combat unless you're very specifically stunning the enemy. If you stun the enemy and then they just give you time to transform so that you can then go inside the machine and attack it, like, that's thematically fun. It's just goofy, and it's like, haha, I'm a little Ant-Man inside of your body and I'm attacking you. Like they kind of set it up early with that one statue where it's a kind of a puzzle of how to get past that statue that blocks the door, and then they incorporated it into some of the fights a little bit, and it's like, it's very gimmicky and awkward that the game has to just stop the boss fight in order to reasonably let you do that, because when the final boss fight doesn't stop, it feels awful, honestly. But I think it's worth it just to be goofy and incorporate the main thing into a fight in a meaningful way instead of ignoring it. So that's fine. The Minish Cap being in fights is fine. And I also like the idea that that every environment has two versions, essentially, of like how you traverse it. And so it's worth looking at, like, oh wow, I can't climb steps or go through like the front doorway of any places when I'm tiny, but there are like these really specific paths. I can try to set them up when I'm big, and that's like a nice little bonus layered exploration thing you get to add in. And so overall, the Minish Cap mechanic is a hit. That is a good idea. I'm curious to see about Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, two games I know basically nothing about. I don't even really understand what the mechanic is that those games introduce, like the titular ones. I don't really know how that works mechanically. I know way more about A Link Between Worlds, where you turn into a cartoon man and stick on walls. I know about that. Because I saw it a bit around while everyone was raving about it. So that looks neat too. So we are approaching series completion. If I tried harder to do so, I probably could have finished every single Zelda between the Breath of the Wild games. Because for those that haven't been here this whole time, although I kind of hinted at this before, Breath of the Wild was basically my first Zelda, kind of, that I like really played. I had Oracle of Seasons for a bit and didn't get very far in it when I was younger on the Game Boy Color. And on this channel, I did play through Hyrule Warriors without the context of knowing who any of the characters and things were. I was just like, yay, a Dynasty Warriors game, I like these. And theming it as a Zelda game actually kind of made the game even more fun and goofy, like incorporating items and magic and nonsense. Like the theming that they went with made the Dynasty Warriors formula more fun. So that was a good like little pairing of franchises. But I really started playing Zelda with Breath of the Wild, and it was really neat. And I wasn't burdened by the issue of like, is this a good Zelda game or not? Because I wasn't really used to Zelda games, so I was just taking it on its own face value, with my only exposure to Zelda mostly being visuals and music and so on. So now I'm going to go into the sequel now with Breath of the Wild now being a relatively distant memory, and the franchise as a whole is mostly under my belt. I've played every 3D one and like 3 or 4 2D ones. I have not played the original Zelda or Zelda 2, and I have not played Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks or A Link Between Worlds, but I have played Cadence of Hyrule, Link's Awakening, A Link to the Past, and Minish Cap. I don't remember if there's another one or not that I've played. That it's hard to go through them all mentally. Oh yeah, and as far as the shrinking stuff goes, like I loved the fact that they incorporate, like, I like that the first boss in this game was a regular enemy but huge, and I kind of wish that was like, I kind of wish like most of the bosses were like that. I kind of wish that it was just this constant thing where you had to solve problems by being small, but then like a regular enemy was then like brought in as the super version of itself, but it's really just a regular one, but you have to fight while you're small. And now they have to recontextualize that enemy as a thing you're fighting when you're small. Like, I loved that they did that at the beginning, and I kind of wish they did it more, because later bosses were less and less likely to incorporate that idea. But that was a fun angle to take. Anyway, I think this is enough of a podcast. I'll see you guys next time, and by the time you're hearing this, Patreon will have chosen the next game, probably. So looking forward to seeing what that is. See you next time.